Hi there, and welcome to another Views from the Valley, your weekly roundup of the news here in the United States, coming to you from the v3.co.uk offices in San Francisco. With me as ever, Shaun Nichols. Hi, Shaun.
Hi, Iain.
Right, okay, eventful week. We've had some good news, some bad news, and some frankly hilarious news, so we shall crack straight on. First off, bad news, or good news, depending on how you see it, for Palm. Now, you covered this. Palm's been officially taken over by HP.
Yep, HP has bought them. I think it was like 1.6 billion.
1.2,
1.2, which, if you're looking at Palm stock 15 years ago,
kind of, yes.
You really didn't want to believe that. The company has definitely fallen quite far. Unfortunately, the campaign with the Pre and the WebOS never really took off. Mm-hmm. And really, at this point, I think there really wasn't much else for them to do other than find a buyer who wanted to get into the smartphone market and sell it to them. I think that's, from HP's perspective, I think it's an interesting move. I
think they bought pup, to be quite honest. 1.2 billion for a company with no name recognition outside the United States. Very nice hardware, which HP would find it difficult to replicate. What they mainly seem to have got is the operating system, the WebOS system. But since Palm didn't support developers enough for that, then quite how much use that's going to be, I don't know.
Well, I think you also have to look at it and what it would cost HP to acquire another company with a smartphone OS or develop its own as far as research efforts and that sort of thing.
Well, why not just use Android? Android's out there, it's open source, I know it doesn't differentiate them from anywhere else in the market, but neither does Palm outside the US.
No, I guess not. It's an interesting question. I don't know if HP wants to be in the business of making, doing what Apple does, where you make money on the hardware and the OS, or have a unique product based on that sort of thing. Or they just didn't think that they could compete with some of the other vendors in terms of just handset sales. But I don't know. If I knew these sort of things,
yes,
I'd be sitting in the boardroom somewhere making far more money.
That would be amusing. And another thing, these things are rubbish. Thank you, Mr. Nichols. That will be all. Okay, now another company news. A favourite spokesman of ours is Graham Cluley over at Sophos, and Sophos itself has just had a change of management. It was or at least a change of owners. It was the largest privately owned security company in the world, UK based, of course, and Apex Partners, a venture capital firm, have paid, I think it's something in the region of 200 million for a controlling interest. Given the shares they already owned. It's going to be interesting because Sophos is usually out there with some fairly fun and funky stories. They did the Klingon antivirus version. Yeah. Graham Cluley gives a great quote, even if sometimes it's a little over the top. Do you think it's going to change things much at Sophos?
I can't imagine it being a huge, changing too much as far as the day-to-day stuff, the interactions that we have with them, the interactions that users would have with them. I guess it might change a little bit if being owned by a new company, new venture might actually kind of increase the pressure on them to turn up the profits, that sort of thing. But
yeah. To be honest, I like the idea of Sophos as a private company because they can do these things without having to justify themselves to shareholders. But yeah, we'll see how that develops. But no doubt Graham will be back with some pithy quotes later in the week. Right, okay. Now, you also covered the browser market a couple of days ago.
It's actually something that broke yesterday. Net Applications company that monitors user traffic as well as browsers, that sort of thing. They put together a monthly report on market share. And they found that Internet Explorer share is continuing to fall. At this point, I think in April, they were actually under 60%.
Yes, dipped below 60% for the first time in... Good Lord, probably since about 1996, 97.
Probably. Oh, yeah. It's got to be, maybe as much as 15 years.
Yeah.
And essentially, it's not as big, it's not coming from where you think it is as far as the loss. A lot of people would think, it means Firefox is gaining. Firefox did gain a little bit, but not nearly as much as Chrome did. I think Chrome saw its share go up by something like 0.6%, which is...
in global terms,
that's pretty significant over a 1 month period, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's still under 10%, but it's ahead of Safari. It's starting to actually distance itself from Safari, even though Safari did have decent growth.
Yeah, but largely driven, I should suspect, by iPhone and iPad users, but yeah.
Yeah, it is. Safari's never been a big Windows browser, really. But
it's quite handy, actually. Safari is quite useful for going to sites which are slightly dodgy because nobody bothers coding.
Yeah, that's true. That's one of the advantages. Well, but you'll get that same advantage from Opera or from Chrome to some effect. So yeah, it was interesting that Chrome usage was going up so much. Firefox was up a little bit. Opera was down slightly, but I mean, Opera is a fairly small part of the market, so that could bend from any number of things.
Yeah, true. I don't know. I downloaded Chrome myself this month after Firefox started twitching up also, because it has a very handy translate page feature, which if you're trying to read the Japanese or Chinese newspapers is really quite useful, even if the translation is tentative, to say the best. But yeah, I mean, IE really has very little to offer on the browser front, other than you use it because it's got built-in compatibility. Well, yeah, and the new versions have definitely improved as far as security and that sort of thing, performance. But yeah, I mean, for me personally, the kind of deal breaker for Firefox for me is ad block. Right. On a lot of sites you don't want to... I mean, obviously for v3.co.uk, I recommend disabling ad block and running all the ads and clicking on 7 or 8 of them. But... indeed. We do that every day. But I mean, for other sites, I think it's good. Sites that use really invasive ads or possibly malicious ads, that sort of thing. And it's been a huge thing for me, and it's been a big selling point for me as far as running browsers, that sort of thing. Chrome, I used it a little bit, didn't see much. It really kind of blew my mind. That's one thing with browsers. I think there's a lot of brand loyalty there. True. I mean, I'm still a Firefox user, but Firefox was playing up on my system, so I decided I'll give Chrome a shot. Blindingly fast, and the translate feature is very useful, but there's no other real reason to use it as far as I can see. No, it's always been my experience with browsers that the browser itself is not really a bottleneck too often. It's usually the connection or something else. Yeah. So as far as some of the features go, aside of security, compatibility, that sort of thing, I don't really see a whole lot of reason to switch around from browser to browser personally. No, I think that's fair enough. Okay, and finally, and news which is going to get Steve Jobs' teeth grinding together, also people at AT&T, there's a jailbreak app out there which turns your iPhone into a mini Wi-Fi hotspot by utilising the 3G connection and the Wi-Fi connectivity, which you can then link into your iPad. So if you're Apple users who have been waiting for their 3G iPads and are willing to pay the couple of $100 extra price premium and get a new 3G contract to use on it, might be a little bit interested to know that in fact you don't have to pay extra for internet access because you can use your current unlimited data plan on the iPhone, and you don't pay the hardware premium for the iPad. Now, I mean, you're an Apple boy, as it were. Then would you be, if you were buying an iPad, would you do this and jailbreak it, or would you wait for the 3G version? I'd be interested to see what the process is on the iPhone end, because a lot of those jailbreaks, unless you really keep up with keeping everything updated and everything, if you unwittingly install the iPhone OS update, you can damage the system, lose data, that sort of thing. And so I've never really been a big fan of jailbreaking from that sense. I just never really had anything that I wanted to use bad enough to jailbreak my iPhone anyways. But you're Apple. I mean, come on, Apple's all about fighting the man. I mean, unfortunately, the man is now Steve Jobs, but, Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm probably one of the iPhone users that really doesn't, in my case, really doesn't have much that you really need to run on a jailbroken phone. Doesn't mean I wouldn't be interested in doing it, but again, I'm also fairly lazy in terms of always keeping everything updated and keeping up to date with everything, and I'm the type of person who would be not paying attention, plug it in, start running the software update, and completely hose my iPhone. So right, okay. Yeah, from that sense. But then again, from the geek part of me says that's really cool. Basically, it sounds like it's basically a tethering procedure, so you can use your 3G connection, which is pretty cool. And yeah, I'm guessing if you paid the premium for the iPad 3G, but then have to get an entirely new 3G contract when you've already got one, Yeah, but if you're the kind of person lining up right now paying a premium for a first generation Apple release, that's true. It's not the most price sensitive of markets, is it? Well, we'll see how this develops, but I suspect AT&T is going to put pressure on Apple, and others are going to put pressure on Apple to release an update which disables this incredibly useful feature. We shall see. But if you want to read more about these and other stories, go to www.v3.co.uk.